So with this tip, I thought I'd take you through how to set up the mobile device emulator that ships with Visual Studio 2008 and Visual Studio 2005 so that you can eventually use it to do some mobile demos with Microsoft Dynamics AX. So I have on this machine Microsoft Dynamics AX set up. I've got my Outlook set up and connected to my corporate network. What I also have installed on here, of course, is the Visual Studio 2005, 2008. In this particular case, I've also downloaded the Windows Mobile 6 SDK because it gives you the Windows Mobile 6 device emulations, and I'll show you that in a moment. But essentially, once you've installed Visual Studio 2008, there is, if you take the complete sort of install, it does install the device emulator. And the other thing that I have installed on this machine is a virtual PC, so that you actually install the virtual networking components that the mobile device emulator can use to actually connect to the network, because you'll need that to do the synchronization. So if I browse it to Windows Explorer, and if I go and look at the program files, what you'll find is the mobile device emulator under program files, so mobile device emulator. So in this particular case, I've added a shortcut to my desktop, for example. Now, you can also get to it by opening Visual Studio. So if I go into Visual Studio and I just start up Visual Studio 2008, for example, you'll see that it's available directly from the Tools menu up here. Now I'm going to start it just simply from the shortcut in Windows Explorer. So Program Files, Mobile Device Emulator version 1. So if I start this up, what you'll see is a range of the different devices that you can choose. Now I, in this particular case, have the Windows Mobile 6 SDK installed, so you can do a search on Microsoft.com and you can download the Windows Mobile 6 emulation devices. So I'm going to start one of these up. For example, I'm going to start up the professional emulator in this particular case. Now it's simply a matter of going connect, then the device emulator will actually start up the Windows Mobile device. So this is the Windows Mobile device started up. Now, to actually get it connected to the network, there's a couple of things that you'll probably want to do, and you can read the documentation, but that's essentially what this tip is about, to give you some quick starts on how to actually connect that up. So if I go up to the File menu here, I can actually choose Configure. Now in Configure, I can choose the Network tab, and this allows me to connect a network. So I can choose the network card that I've got in my machine to actually connect out on the network. Now what I'll also do is go and put the device in the cradle. So if I go to the device emulator, I can actually click on this and say create, connect that to the cradle, which means that it's essentially docking the device. So in this particular case, I've got my device and I'm emulating that it's connected to the network via the cradle. Now what I can do is set up the synchronization on the device. So if I go start, what you'll see is you can go into programs, and of course in programs I can go to active sync here. Now this will give you the initial setup. So if I go to my setup here, I can type in the address for my device. Now you'll have to check on your network. In my particular case, I know the machine that's got Outlook set up here, because this is essentially looking for where do I synchronize to my Outlook. And in this particular case, this is where my Exchange server is set up. Now in this case, I don't have SSL, so I'm going to turn that off. I can simply go next in the wizard. Now I'm going to type in my username. In this particular case, I'm logging on as Nancy, and I can put in the domain here, and I'm going to save the password, so I can simply go next. Now I can check what I'm going to synchronize, so contacts, calendar, email, tasks, for example, and then I can simply go finish. So you'll see that it'll start up the synchronization. So hopefully Once the network on the connection is set up and once I'm actually cradled it, you'll see, for example, it's actually synchronized my email, and I get an email from the administrator here, for example. So I can dismiss that. So the synchronization is stopped. I can go and check, for example, if in my contacts I've got one contact here directly synchronized. So this is the device actually synchronized. So that's the end of the tip. It's a quick tip on how to use the device emulator and actually how to do the basic setup. We'll use that in some demos later with Microsoft Dynamics AX.